Hello everybody, I'm Tony O'Rourke from Inago. Welcome to this afternoon or today's presentation, today's webinar on how to prepare a submission ready manuscript using artificial intelligence. The usual disclaimer, the content is available and licensed by Crimson under CC BY. During this presentation, you will have opportunities to ask questions. Please box in your on your screen. We won't be answering questions during the presentation, but we will be curating questions and asking them at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to ask as many questions as you like. If we don't get to your question, we will make a note of all the questions and we will try and get back to you after the presentation itself. But feel free to use the box to ask whatever questions you like. So type your question here and then press send, and then we will see that question. We have quite a lot of people on this webinar today, so I'm sorry that we won't be able to allow questions during the webinar, but we'll be doing so at the end. So just a quick advertisement break about who we are. We're Inago, and we're one of the world's leading providers of author services. We started in 2005. We are local in 15 countries. We're one of the market leaders in Asia and Japan, China, Korea, and Latin America for the provision of author services. And we've worked with 2 million authors in more than 120 countries around the world. We cover every subject area you can imagine, over 1,400 subject areas. And we work with subject matter expert editors who on average have just under 20 years experience in editing. Inago is part of a bigger group, Crimson Interactive, which not only does author services, we provide author education. We have an e-learning platform for best practice in scholarly publishing. We have an artificial intelligence business, which we're talking about today. And we also have a medical communications business, works mostly with the pharmaceutical industry. So just a quick summary of what we do. The Inago Academy is a knowledge sharing platform that helps researchers to understand best practice in scholarly communication and covers every stage of the scholarly communication workflow. We provide interactive webinars for early career researchers as well as experienced researchers and graduate students to help them acquire knowledge and about critical issues, critical topics pertinent to being successful in their publication strategies. In normal times, we run workshops, and we run hundreds of workshops in universities and research organizations around the world. Obviously, at the moment, those workshops are being curtailed as a result of the COVID pandemic, but we will be getting back to those workshops very soon. And again, they're face-to-face workshops where we provide information on best practice in scholarly communication. I mentioned Inago Learn, which is our online training platform on all aspects of the academic publishing process. We also have a consulting service where we provide you access with a specialist in your particular field who can provide consultation and advice on different aspects of the research communication process. Our core business is our editing business. We provide English language editing services that improves your research communication. Every paper goes through a 2-editor system. Every paper is seen by a native English-speaking linguist, and importantly, a linguist, an expert who has an understanding of your subject area. So what you get back is better written. You just need to concentrate on what you want to say and not how you say it. We also offer academic translation services if you're unable to write that paper in English. And we provide a variety of manuscript preparation and publication support services. And those include things like video abstracts, video summaries, to bring your research to life. And as I mentioned earlier, we also provide expert writing services in the field of medicine and clinical sciences to present your data as research content. So a few words about me. I'm Tony O'Rourke. I'm a vice president here at Inago. I've been in the STM publishing industry a long time, as you can see by my lack of hair. I've worked in a variety of journal, book, as well as database publishing organizations. I've expertise in, and over the last few years, in developing go-to-market strategies for artificial intelligence products that help in scientific writing, and I've served on a variety of boards within the publishing community. My colleague Trinka D'Cunha, I have great pleasure in introducing. Trinka is our lead linguist here at Crimson. She has 20 years experience as an English language instructor, editor and linguist, extensive expertise in editing and quality checking manuscripts, edited manuscripts, and experience in conceptualizing and developing the Trinka AI writing assistant, which is actually named after her. And you'll be able to ask questions to Trinka or to me during the course of the presentation, and then we'll answer those at the end. Okay, so let's look at the agenda for today's session. The first thing we're going to do is to focus on the use of AI in academic publishing. We'll also look at the benefits of using AI for authors and for publishers. I will then hand over to Trinka, who will give you a live demonstration of how the Trinka AI tool can be used and how it helps improve manuscript quality. So let's look at how AI is being used in academic publishing. I'm sure you all know this, but it doesn't hurt to do a reminder. What is artificial intelligence? Why is artificial intelligence becoming increasingly important? AI refers to any human-like intelligence exhibited by a computer, whether it's learning and interpreting from data sets and machine-readable data, recognizing and understanding patterns, responding to language, making decisions and solving patterns, and learning and learning and learning in order to improve the quality of output it can then provide. AI isn't a new concept. In fact, AI was first coined in the 1950s by John McCarthy, excuse me, and researchers started working on chemical analysis expert systems in the 1960s, Dendrel being one of the first. In the 1970s, systems were developed expert systems were developed for treating blood infections. The term machine reading was first coined in 2006. In 2009, scientists developed Adam as a system which required no human intervention to conduct research. IBM Watson competed on the US TV program Jeopardy and managed to defeat 2 Jeopardy champions in 2011. And in 2017, we saw the first use of AI in developing anti-cancer drug combinations. It's very clear that the market for artificial intelligence has grown hugely over the last 10 years alone. Between 2016 and 2022, the growth rate of businesses that are providing AI products has grown by something like 62.9%. It's estimated that the market is worth something like 16.6 billion. Education and healthcare are the 2 of the largest areas where AI is being used. AI in healthcare is estimated at being worth something like 6.6 billion, and AI in education is worth something in the region of 60 billion. And as you see, it truly is a global phenomenon. Interestingly, and perhaps not surprisingly, the use of AI and the communication of AI research continues to grow. If you look over the last 20 or so years, or nearly 25 years, the number of papers published overall in all subject areas has grown by a factor of more than 2. Huge growth in output. At the same time, computer science papers have grown by a factor of 6, whereas papers on artificial intelligence have grown by a factor of more than 8. So it's a very, very active area for research, according to Scopus. So how is AI being used in publishing? Well, the most obvious use and the primary use case is around the extraction of metadata, using AI to pull out those core concepts within research content and identifying those metadata concepts. But increasingly, it's being used for such areas as image recognition, for assessment, for counting citations, to create content to an extent and for submission, to create subject collections for analytics, content discovery, translations, text summarization. And we see this growing and changing and increasing year on year. This is according to Unsilo, who are another trusted provider within the AI for publishing space. Inago itself has been involved in providing AI-based tools to provide better knowledge around COVID over the last 2 years. We launched Clara, which is a free AI-powered coronavirus research and clinical discovery trial tool. It's there to help researchers across the globe by bringing together the most relevant papers on the coronavirus research and clinical trials available in the public domain. I would urge you to look at it if it's your area of research. It is completely free at the point of use. So let's talk specifically now about the way AI benefits both authors and publishers who are taking your content and publishing that content on your behalf in the world's leading research journals. AI performs a number of core functions and is increasingly doing so. That could be identifying whether the content of the journal matches the scope of the journal article, checking for technical compliance issues and possible language areas. Technical compliance issues can include things like author details, abstracts, the way a manuscript is structured, references, the age of references, making sure figures and tables match up, and also helping in identifying other ways that a publisher may specifically expect the author to develop the content. AI is also being used to check for ethical compliance and ethical soundness. And by ethical compliance, I mean things such as informed consent. If it's a clinical or medical paper, do you have the right consents in place? Does your paper contain ethical statements? Are you listing your financial disclosures? If there are any conflicts of interest, are you stating what they are? And of course, providing access to data which has been used to help build your research. AI can be used to determine the accuracy of citations and references. It can be used to organize and structure the manuscript. It can be used, importantly, in not just choosing keywords, but perhaps also adding additional keywords and concepts to your research paper to ensure that the literature review that you've used to build your paper is adequate. AI can be used also in the medical field to make sure that you've got the right clinical trial information listed on the paper. And there are many, and every day a new use is being introduced. Now, how do authors benefit from AI? Well, it's fairly clear that a machine driven tool will allow you to identify concepts much more quickly within a large data set than you would be able to otherwise. AI helps authors to extract accurate information from verified and credible academic databases. It helps the author to recognize any inconsistencies in the manuscript. And when I say inconsistencies, I mean things like typographical or grammar errors or even contextual errors. It makes sure that citations are verified and flagged, and that it's not absent from that particular publication, that you've got your references in place and you're abiding by the rules set down by the journal. AI can be used increasingly to help to translate work, articles, theses, conference papers into different languages. And AI increasingly is being used to detect plagiarism, image manipulation, and fraudulent or inaccurate data. Publishers benefit in a number of ways. This is a very small example. Performing automated peer review, or at least supporting the process of peer review for data accuracy, specifically for data accuracy and for uniqueness and novelty of content, comparing with other content. It helps to streamline workflows to better serve authors with timely publications and boosting the immediacy of the research and of the science. By matching manuscripts to journals and reviewers, it helps to improve editorial quality. It also automates the task of editing and formatting, and allowing the publisher and the author to focus on more complex tasks that may need attention, and can reduce bias in editorial intervention, in human bias within editorial intervention. So there are lots and lots of tools that have been developed in a number of different areas, in plagiarism, data fabrication, things like a stat reviewer, which will avoid false statistical results, help you to analyze the statistics, tools that will identify fabricated and modified data or similar sounding paragraphs and sentences, plagiarism checking softwares, to detect unreported information. AI is being used in search engines for published data, such as Semantic Scholar or UNO or Mendeley Suggest, text and data mining tools such as Crossref. And also, AI is being used increasingly successfully in helping publishers to identify new peer reviewers. With the growth of papers in scientific research over the last 20 years, it's becoming increasingly challenging to be able to find good reviewers to peer review the paper. And it can, of course, be also used, as mentioned earlier on, to verify statistical data. So how else does AI help augment the publishing domain? Well, AI is being used in journal recommendation. It can help you to make sure you've picked the right journal for your paper. It can be used to help you to create as good a version of that paper as possible by using AI-based writing assistants. It helps publishers in the process of editorial decision-making. Increasingly, as the number of papers that are coming into publishers increase, publishers want to automate the process of at least identifying the level of editing that may be required and making sure the appropriate editor is given the opportunity to edit that paper, and saving time both for the author and for the publisher. It helps time in identifying important concepts, topics, or themes. And of course, AI is being used increasingly to summarize manuscripts and to provide plain English summaries of otherwise very complex content. At which stage now I have the great pleasure of handing over to my colleague, Dr. Trinka de Cunha, who will talk specifically about how AI writing assistants help the process of academic and formal writing. Trinka, over to you.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I would have to switch off my video because of the electricity. It's gone out here, so I hope you don't mind. So thank you, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be speaking with you all today. I will be walking you through Trinka, our AI-powered writing assistant. But before that, let me share some background to Trinka. Our fundamental motivation when building Trinka was to help researchers, authors, and the general public to write and communicate confidently, and for researchers particularly to publish confidently. So using Inago's editorial experience of more than 15 years and working with millions of authors, we used our expertise to research and create Trinka so that it is fit for a researcher or an author to check the language so that it can be published. A major question we get quite often is what makes Trinka different from other grammar checkers? There are a lot of them out there and they all check grammar. Well, while doing the research and when we were editing or checking documents, we'd noticed the struggles that writers would have in communicating in English, a different language. So we observed and collected the different nuances of academic writing features that go beyond grammar and spelling. We looked at those features that would help make a piece of text publishable and make it correct, concise, and elegant. So our timeline is while we were editing and a lot of documents for a lot of authors, we observed the patterns of changes and the kinds of requests that authors had of us for polishing up the language. And based on that, we went into an our research and development mode to build Trinker, and I'm just proud to be associated with this tool. Right now, Trinker is already helping around 80,000 researchers and publishers too, to help clean up the English language and also to determine what kind of copy editing is required for a manuscript. This is publishers look at this aspect of language. So let me now show you, walk you through a demo of how Trinker works and what its features are. Yes. Once you sign into Trinker, you get onto the My Drive page. Now this page is your dashboard. Whatever files you have uploaded and edited in Trinker, you will see it here. Once you click on a file, it opens up in the editor. So here we'll see the file is clicked on, and this is the editor on which the Trinker editor. So as soon as you click this, the Trinker writing assistant kicks in. It starts analyzing the text, scanning it, and providing suggestions for different sorts of corrections. These corrections can range from actual grammar correction to spelling correction to refining or polishing up the text, making it concise, making it formal, or using sensitive and unbiased language. It checks for all these aspects of writing and provides suggestions. You can see here the suggestions are appearing on the right-hand side, and the corrections can be clicked upon. It gets executed in the text. Apart from this, once you're done, you can download the file with track changes or without track changes. You can also select what type of writing genre you're in. Are you writing for a general public, or are you writing for researchers for publication for journals? Accordingly, you can select the kind of writing, and while you do that, you can select the type of paper that you are writing. Apart from that, Trinker automatically detects the subject area of your paper and displays the domains below. If you find that your domain is not listed below, you can simply type in your domain and select one from the drop-down list. What this will do is this will help refine the type of suggestions being shown for that particular domain. So once you click save and the grammar correction or the writing assistant runs through the text, it will provide that specific kind of changes for your domain. We also have added popular style guides, the American Medical Association, 11th edition, the AGU, the American Geophysical Union, the APA, American Psychological Association, ACS, the American Chemical Society, and the IEEE style guides. So these style guides apply the language advice preferred by these style guides to your paper. Yeah. Apart from this, we also have consistency checking. We'll reach there in a moment. Sorry, I'll take you through this. So here, as you see, when you open a text in the Trinker editor, you get all kinds of corrections. Now, these corrections are categorized into these four. You may choose to view which corrections, you may choose to view the corrections you want to see. So if, for example, you want to see only grammar and spelling, you can uncheck Writing Advisor and Enhancements. Writing Advisor would be more of the advice given to make a text academic or make it formal, or the typical writing elements seen in academic writing. That is what Writing Advisor advises you on. Enhancements would cater to reducing the word count of your text, or enhancing the language in terms of making it clearer to read, making it more readable. So that's what enhancements do. So this is a panel in which the author can select what kind of suggestions they want to see. Yes. So once that is unchecked, you can see the alerts counter on the top right, changed. Now, consistency checking is further cleaning up the document for minor inconsistencies. Let's say it goes deeper into attention to detail aspects of a paper. So, for example, if a particular phrase has been hyphenated at one instance, but not hyphenated in three other instances. So the consistency checker detects these inconsistencies and presents it as we can see here. So here patient reported the hyphenated form was occurring one time and the unhyphenated form occurred 2 times. So by navigating through the 3 instances, you can decide whether you want to apply the hyphenated version or the unhyphenated version. Same goes for spelled out numbers, numbers which are spelled out at some instances, but the digit form is available at other instances. So here too, you can make consistency checks. So there are different aspects of consistency checking, and by running the consistency checker, the document improves in its attention to detail aspects. When you want to change the English of your document, you can select the British or American English and also check what word count your document has in case these are needed by the journal when you are submitting it, your paper. You can also edit the title of the file here. Another important aspect which we have included in Trinker is publication readiness checks. Now, these checks scan your document to see if there's anything missing before you submit a paper to a journal. Now, when I say anything missing, it is the technical checks, the compliances. Also, if you have already selected a journal, we can check whether that journal fits the document fits the aims and scope of journal and authorship details. So if you do not have a journal in mind, then you can simply click run checks and it will recommend journals for you. Here, for example, the PMC anesthesiology selected. When you don't have a journal, you simply click run checks. It takes a minute or two to process. These are the various checks. You can see that journal scope has 2, technical compliance has 3 checks. Here. So the check is completed and now we can see the results. So here, since the journal was not provided, Trinker suggests journals after scanning through and understanding the text matter. Tooltips are available to understand how these are selected. On the top right, you can navigate through each of the technical checks. The technical compliance checks looks at the manuscript structure and gives you information like, for example, what is the word count of the title? Is your abstract a structured abstract or a non-structured abstract? And what are the different sections of your paper? This becomes relevant when you need to adhere to the instructions to the authors. So these are the sections detected in this particular paper. In ethical compliance, the Trinker checks for the consent statement, informed consent statement, the ethical compliance statement, if the financial disclosures statement has been presented, conflict of interest, as well as if the data availability is provided, the statement is provided in the document. The tooltips provide information on what is required. And another thing is, in case the statements are not present, then there is advice given in the expanded card on what kind of statements can be used to express informed consent or financial disclosure and others. Moving on to authorship details. In authorship details, Trinker detects the authors, the affiliations of the authors, who the corresponding author or authors are, and also very important if the author contribution statements are present. As usual, if these statements are missing, then advice is given on how these can be added, especially the author contribution. Examples and templates are provided if it is not detected. Now coming to the reference section, it scans the reference section, and in case there are any references which are 10 years older, then it tags it as a old reference. So you might, so in case a journal does not favor papers or studies that are more than 10 years old, then this can be a good way to check. Figures and tables. So many journals prescribe that the figures need to be arranged in an ascending order. The figures, if present in the document, need to be cited in text and vice versa. So this particular check looks for figures and tables, whether it is cited in the text and if it is present in the document. Here you can see an example is given of the caption, figure 1, and the citation, where in the text it is cited. This way you can navigate through all the figures and legends and tables. Finally, if the study is a clinical trial, then is it registered on the clinicaltrials.gov site? If it is present, then you get the ID number. Finally, information that can be extracted from the document, which can be used for various purposes. For example, Trinker extracts the important concepts of the paper and presents it here, which can be used for other purposes. For example, if you would like to use this as a keyword or in an indexing system, right? So you can select the necessary or the relevant words and share it. Another thing is you can simply copy the keywords from here by clicking copy selected keywords. It gets copied onto your clipboard and you can paste it in any editable text or on the screen itself. Now the summary feature of Trinker is it picks out the important statements from the manuscript and clubs these together so that this can be further refined into various pieces of information for communicating on various platforms. So as a very brief summary of the entire paper, this can be shared with colleagues, with on social media. After refining it, it can statements from here, you can choose which ones you want to add in your abstract. It can be used for various purposes. Again, you can copy the summary to clipboard to paste it on whichever editable field you want. So that was publication checks. And once you're done with the document, you can download it. Once you download it, you can get it in a track change format or a clean file. In case you want to further refine your text, you want to get a human proofreader or a copy editor to go through a document, you could click send for professional editing and select the kind of service you want. Each service has the help tooltips available, so you can read what the service gives you. Choose a delivery plan and add the additional details and proceed to pay. So that will take it to the Inago editor. So after using the editor, in case you need to further refine or edit the text, get it done by a human editor. So that's something you can do. Yeah. So that's all about Trinker. In case you want to use Trinker on other platforms, for example, what you just saw was the cloud editor. We have an enterprise version and also browser plugins and a Word plugin. The browser plugins and the Word plugin are in beta version. So in case you're interested to test it, you want to use it and test it and give us feedback, please do write to us at support@trinker.ai and we shall share the details with you.